Hello everybody. As you all know that we were discussing about characteristics of a company and we have already covered introduction of company, what is Companies Act, okay, and we have already covered some of the features. So today we'll be continuing with the characteristics of a company. We have already discussed separate legal entity, we have discussed limited liability, perpetual succession. So today we'll be discussing about common seal, artificial person, number of persons, and I will also include some other characteristics of company as well. Okay, so let's get started with common seal. Now, common seal. Now we all know that a company cannot put its signature on a document because a company is an artificial person. Okay, and its birth is not a natural birth, it is not a human being. So company does not have its hands, right? So the company cannot put its signature on a document. The company seal is the symbol of the company's identity and is a good as good as signature. So let me tell you that what common seal exactly is. The common seal is considered as the official signature of the company. Okay, its common seal must authenticate all its acts when the common seal is affixed on a document. Now, when a common seal is affixed on a document, it is considered as the authoritative document of the company. Okay, it should be made use of only according to the directions of the board of directors. We cannot use the company seal whenever we want to. Okay, so we can use a company seal in accordance with the directions of the board of directors only. Okay, and it works as a company's signature. Very simple. Next is artificial person. Now, the next characteristic that we are going to study is artificial person. Now, in many definitions, many scholars have said that a company is an artificial person. Now, why a company is an artificial person? Because its birth is not a natural birth. It is invisible, intangible, and immortal artificial person that has an identity only in the eyes of law. Now, basically, actually, the law divides persons into two kinds. Okay, law divides the persons into two kinds, which are the very first is natural persons, okay, and the second is legal persons. The very first, natural persons. Natural persons are human persons and are the creations of nature. Second is legal persons. Now, legal persons are artificial persons. Okay, the persons that we are talking about here is artificial persons. Okay, these, on the other hand, are created and devised by human law, that is, created by legal process and not through natural birth. Okay, so a company is distinct legal person, okay, existing independent of its numbers. The independent corporate existence is the outstanding feature of a company. Okay, so it is an artificial person, it does not have hands. Okay, it does not have hands, that's why we use a common seal. Now all these characteristics, you will see that they are related with each other. Okay, once you know that this is an artificial person, once you come to know that this is an artificial person, you will be able to know that why a company uses a common seal, because it does not have its own hands, it does not have a, it is not a natural birth. Okay, it is born by the will of the persons or by the act of law. Okay, so the next characteristic that we are going to study, this is a very important characteristic. The next characteristic is number of persons. So the minimum number of persons in a public company. Now there are basically, for now, you can learn that there are two types of company. The very first is public company and the second is a private company. Now, for incorporating a particular company, the minimum requirement number of members in a public company is 7. Okay, and the maximum can be as much as the shares issued by the company. Okay, in private company, the minimum number is 2 and the maximum number we can have in private company is 50. Okay, so this is very easy. There are two types of company. For now, you can learn that there are two types of company. First is private company, second is public company. In private company, you can have minimum 2 persons and maximum 50. But when we talk about public company, minimum requirement of people is 7 and the maximum can be as much as the shares issued by the company. Now, in the starting, I told you that we'll be discussing more about characteristics of the company. Okay, so I want to tell you there are some more important characteristics of the company. That is, the very next is transferability of shares. Now, we have discussed shared in 6th point. Okay, I have already told you that in a public company, maximum can be as much as the shares issued by the company. Now, how you will transfer these shares? Okay, so the capital of a company is divided into parts that is called shares, we all know. Now, the shares are said to be movable property and subject to certain conditions. They are freely transferable, so that no shareholder is permanently or necessarily wedded to the company. Okay, whenever he wants to leave the company, okay, whenever he thinks he doesn't want to be a part of the company, he can leave the company. Okay, so section 44 of the Companies Act 2013 says the principle by providing that the share held by the members are movable property and it can be transferred from one person to another in the manner that is provided by the articles only. Okay, so the primary objective of a joint stock company is that it should be able to transfer shares easily. Okay, the law also considers the shares of a company as a movable property, and hence, like any other movable asset, the shareholder can transfer his title over his share to some other person. Okay, so the next characteristic is capacity to sue and be sued. Now, a company being a body corporate can sue and be sued in its own name. Now, you all must be wondering that what is sue? Okay, so to sue means to initiate a legal proceeding or to bring a suit in a court of law. So all legal proceedings against the company are to be instituted in its name. Okay, a company's right to sue arises when when some kind of loss is caused to the company, either to the property or personality of the company. Okay, so hence the company is entitled to sue for damages. Okay, as the case may be, a company as a person distinct from its member may even sue its own members. Remember that a company is different from its member. So if a person, a member of its own company do some harm to a company, the company may even sue its own members. A company can be fined or contravention of any law for contravention of any law, but it cannot be imprisoned for a criminal offense, obviously. Okay, so with this, company holds some kind of contractual rights also. A company being a legal entity different from its members, they can enter into contracts for the conduct of the business in its own name. Okay, a shareholder cannot enforce a contract made by his company because he is neither a party to contract nor is entitled to the benefit derived from it, as the company is not trustee for its shareholders. Likewise, a shareholder cannot be sued on contracts made by his company. Okay, so these were the basic characteristics of company. Okay, so these all characteristics are actually interlinked, they are intertwined within themselves. So if you will be able to do the definition very well, if you'll see the definition according to Justin Marshall, he has already defined all the characteristics in his definition. Like a company is an incorporated association. We all know that it is an incorporated association, which is an artificial person. Yes, we know that it is an artificial person. Okay, it is created by law, it is an artificial person. Having a separate entity, yes, the entity of the company and the entity of its members is different. With the perpetual succession, perpetual succession was that even if a person dies or leaves the company will remain forever. A person may come and go, but a company will remain forever. And finally, a common seal. A common seal works like a stamp. Okay, so if I've already told you that a company is an artificial person, it does not have its own hands. So uh, for signature work, the common seal is used in the company. So we have discussed about the companies, the introduction of the companies, the definition given by great scholars, okay, renowned scholars, Justin James and Justin Marshall. Then we have covered characteristics of company as well, and I have already told you, I have discussed more characteristics of company. Okay, so in next presentation we'll be covering the next important topics, covering again Companies Act. Okay, till then, take care.